Hello, I'm Judy the Organizer. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, welcome. Every time I say my intro, I feel like dancing. Anywho, if you're looking for simple yet effective ways to organize your home, today I'm going to be giving you 9 organizing rules that will transform your space. So let's dive in. All right, so the first one is my personal favorite, and I have mentioned this in various videos, and that is one in, one out. So basically what that means is you bring in one new item, you get rid of one old item. I like to say 1 in, 2 out, or 1 in, 5 out, but if this is your first time decluttering, or if you're finding it difficult to declutter, I would suggest 1 in, 1 out. That's the most simple way to do it. And once you get the hang of it, you'll notice that there is a balance, because now the clutter you have does not exceed the non-clutter you have, but the goal of course is for the clutter to be less and your home or your non-clutter or everything else to be more. On to the next one. So the next rule is the 15-minute rule. Again, I have mentioned this before. So basically you dedicate 15 minutes to decluttering or organizing any space in your home. And once that 15 minutes is up, you are done. Though this will take some time to fully organize a space or declutter a space, at least you started somewhere and gradually you'll get to that point, to the end point. 15 minutes and that's all. Put a 15-minute timer and organize or declutter. And again, once you're done, you are finished and you can move on to something that you prefer doing, even though let's just assume a lot of us love organizing. All right, so our next rule is the 80-20 rule, which means we use 20% of our items 80% of the time. The remaining 80% is the stuff we use less frequently, which is clutter. So the goal is to only focus on those 20%. Since you are using them, you make sure that wherever they sit, the space is functional. You make sure that they are accessible so that you can continue using, and then you slowly get rid of the 80%, or maybe not slowly. You can do it in a fast pace. It depends on your preference, but yeah, get rid of that 80% because typically the 80% is clutter, and there is no point in holding on to clutter when they have no value in your life today, because guess what they're called? Rule number 4 is the container rule, which is you keep your belongings in a container, and once that container gets full, you then declutter rather than getting a bigger container. We do not do that. What I love about the container rule is you are subject to just the container. So you keep your belongings to a limit, which is going to prevent you from being cluttered. So I am such an advocate for this. So if you are looking to start your organizing journey and you just don't know where to start or how to start, I would suggest you first do the 1 in, 1 out. But if you are going to bring in products, you follow the container rule. So rule number 5 is to keep like with like. I mention this all the time because it does make a difference when you are organizing a space. What this means is you keep similar items together so that they are easily accessible, and you're able to find what you need with ease. This can work really in any space. Actually, it can work in every space in your home so that you are no longer wasting money buying items you already have. So you can do this in the pantry where you put all of your snacks together, all of your baking items, your breakfast items together in one bin, containerized. Basically, you put them in one container. You can also do this in the closet. You can do this in the bathroom where you put maybe your combs and brushes together, maybe your hair tools in one area. You're putting all your similar items together, basically creating categories and division amongst your items so that they are, again, easily accessible. Because when items are easily accessible, you are more likely to use it. Therefore, they don't become what? Clutter. We don't like clutter here. So rule number 6 is the visibility rule. You store items where they're visible and within reach, which prevents overbuying and saves time. Kind of like the like with like or the similar items together. It saves time, it's accessible, it creates a functional space. You're not going to overbuy said items because you know exactly where they are, and in the visibility rule, you know where they sit. You can see them. You can see them. When you can see them, you will use them. And we use our items in our homes. Okay, so rule number 7 is the 90-90 rule. I don't know if you've heard this before, but I kind kind of love this rule. It basically says if you haven't used your item in the last 90 days and you're probably not going to use it in the next 90 days, then it's probably time you let it go. I know it can be a bit brutal, especially for those of you who hate getting rid of stuff. I get it. I'm always saying, hey, wait a year, wait 2 years even if you're not going to use something. But if you hold on to everything for that long, then you're going to be sitting with clutter for 2 years. The 90-90 rule says if you know you're not going to use it in 6 months, then get rid of it. This makes it so much quicker to get rid of clutter, and you don't have to start with sentimental items. So you can start in the pantry, you can start in the bathroom, in the garage, you know, those items that you know for sure you are not going to touch them. You just don't use them anymore. You don't need to use them anymore. They don't bring value into your life. You might as well get rid of them because there's no point in holding on to them. I would suggest you start with those categories first before you move on to the sentimental items. But if you do adopt this rule, you definitely will create a clutter-free home quickly. So rule number 8 is the donate, discard, or keep rule. You probably have heard this many a times and even seen people use this rule in their home as they're decluttering. This is probably the most simple way to declutter and organize a space. You literally create 3 sections for items you no longer want and you want to get rid of, that are ruined, that need to be trashed, or that you're keeping. Even though I've added more categories than just the 3, it does make getting rid of things or making decisions so much easier because now you know exactly where these items go once you make the decision. So definitely something I would suggest that you adopt if you are new to decluttering or you just cannot seem to declutter your home. So rule number 9 is a 5-minute rule, which again is a favorite. So basically, if a task takes less than 5 minutes, then you do it now. So if this means putting up laundry, if this means taking out the trash, if this means refilling the bathroom cabinets, do it now if it's going to take you less than 5 minutes. Because once that task is done, it's done. This rule is great for keeping surfaces clean and clutter-free. The most important part is to be consistent because you don't just organize once, you continuously organize. But with that consistency, you are going to see that you are going to maintain a decluttered and organized home, which I believe is how you can truly transform your space and keep it that way. All right, so let me know in the comment section below if you've ever heard of any of the rules that I've mentioned. If you watch my video, you probably have. And let me know in the comment section below what rule have you adopted and which one's working well for you. All right, as always, thank you so very much for watching this video. Please like, share, and of course, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.